What an incredible first half of the 2024 One-Up Superstar Series we have had this season. We've had 4 first-time winners in the first 15 races, including last time out at Vermont when Patrick Smith got that maiden win. Will we see another one here today to kick off the second half of the year? And will we see some incredible racing? The answer to that second question is always a yes when we turn up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is one of the majors on the calendar, the 4th annual Brickyard 400, and it's coming to you live from the Brickyard here today as race number 16 of the season. This race was really hard to make for all these drivers. We had, for the first time this season, 2 drivers did not make the field. We had 56 cars enter total, and alongside me in the booth to bring you all the action is one of those hopefuls who did not make the field for this race, James Ellison with me. Once again, this race is so important to make. Why?
Well, it's one of the greatest racetracks in all of history. You can't be down and bummed out about coming here. I don't think I've ever seen a race car driver be like, "Oh, it's Indy, woo!" No, everybody's excited to come here. It pains me that I didn't get to be in the show this year, but you know. It happens. As a team owner, I've still got a horse in the race, or car, if you want to get literal, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Absolutely, and with the advent of single car qualifying for all 3 Crown Jewel races this season, not just for the Daytona 500, we've got a jumbled up grid on our hands for the 4th annual Brickyard 400, as we can now bring you the starting lineup for this 60-lap main event here. Patrick Smith, he's the points leader going into this race. He won his first career event last time at Vermont. He is your pole sitter for the Brickyard 400. Lane Sanders was alongside him. Patrick Smith was the final car to go in qualifying, and he just pipped Lane Sanders to pole by a very thin margin. Mark Davey, Aaron Hall on the second row. Echo Evans-Ross completes the top 5. We've got some big names starting out back, though. We've got names like Jeffrey Finguy, Christian Vargas, Zayden Davidson starting all the way in the 42nd position. Those guys have a lot of work to do making their way from the back to the front.
Yeah, they got a lot of work to do. They're back there where a lot of people you expected to be the ones to qualify back there would normally be. They're back there with like my own car, which qualifying has been mixed bag for that car, but that's just one example of the number of cars that are normally back there, but instead it's a lot of the big hitters and they got work to do.
But if there's ever a place where you can make up ground and score a very big victory, it is here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So with that being said, we have 42 drivers ready to stake their claim at the Brickyard. Who is going to get the win here this year? We're about to find out. This is the Brickyard 400 for race number 16 of the 2024 One-Up Superstar Series, and the green flag is mere moments away from getting this great race underway once again. Getting set for some intense racing action here in the Brickyard 400. Patrick Smith and Lane Sanders bringing us to the green flag. It's now in the air, and the field starts to accelerate up to ludicrous speeds as we head down into turn 1 for the very first lap. It looks pretty even for the first couple of rows, but I believe that inside line is going to prove to pay a big advantage on the start, and it already has. Look at Patrick Smith, how he stretched that lead out early.
It's very early stretch of lead. Mark Davey has a good launch. And now, Lane Sanders finds himself fighting off a trio of game breaker cars as they're all right there. The only one that didn't make it into the top 10 in qualifying was San Donato. He's one of those who has work to do. But I mean, these 3 right here, I think they're big. I think if Evans, Ross, Hall, and Kruger can get in line, they might be a threat to these 3 early on.
But so far, all Patrick Smith out in the lead of this race. He leads the first lap ahead of Mark Davey. Lane Sanders in third. Davey thought about taking a peek to the inside. Nothing doing there, but look how glued to the back bumper of the 22 he is. And this is a very big opportunity for Mark Davey. He's won this race before, trying to become the first driver to win twice here.
Yeah, and looking through the top 10, a good spread here. We got the game breaker trio. Evans, Ross, Hall, and Kruger 4th through 6th. Duke Anzac got back there in 7th. Devin Fair, he would love to get get this race, and then got a lot of heavy hitters still to come, but early on looking pretty strong in the top 10.
As Patrick Smith comes off turn 4, heading across the yard of bricks to complete lap number 2, out in the lead. But here comes Mark Davey down to the inside into turn 1. He gets a big launch through the turn, and he will clear Patrick Smith, first lead change of the day, and it goes to the 97 of Mark Davey, who, remember, won this race a couple of years ago, looking to become the first repeat winner of the Brickyard 400. It's in command so far, as Sanders now lines up a move on Patrick Smith.
And for a minute there, it looked like Sanders was going to have, well, he had a mirror full of the 39 of Echo Evans-Ross, but could have it again because she's got some help from a teammate there. Just like I said, it's early on, but don't count out the fact that there are three drivers from the same team all right here and right there together.
And 2 of those drivers are looking for their first career win, Echo Evans-Ross and Aaron Hall. Could one of them be the surprise winner here today? But right now, Lane Sanders drawing a bead on Mark Davey, looking for another lead change going down into the next corner. But, he has to back off in the middle of 2. That's going to allow Mark Davey to get a little bit of breathing space as they head down the back straightaway.
And don't look now behind. I've been talking about the Game Breaker trio, but there's another Toyota back there that could easily join in the possibility of freight training Patrick Smith back further right now as Evans-Ross makes move and Kruger coming along. Like I said, unless Patrick forces something here, he's in trouble.
Yeah, but he's got to be thinking big picture. He's got the points lead now, and he's got quite a decent one as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if he just plays a conservative early on. But one person who's not playing a conservative early is Julio Caesar. He started this race outside the top 10. He's now past Bobo Jones to move up into the 8th position as Devin Fair makes a move on Emma Kruger. That is for 6.
Yeah, it's good to see Caesar doing good early on. And you use up your stuff a little early, you can still make it up later on. So making some moves like this could set him up for a good solid finish later on. I mean, we still got a long way to go.
As Kruger repasses Devin Fair, I believe that is also for the 6th position, as Aaron Hall has already made his way past his teammate. But up at the front of the field, Mark Davey continues to lead. His gap at the stripe, about a quarter of a second between himself and Lane Sanders as they barrel it off into turn 1. Sanders has never won the Brickyard 400, but he has a win this season at Denver Motorsports Park. Mark Davey is the opposite. He has a win here, but not this season.
Yeah, team made changes over the off season before coming into this year, and seems like they have not been able. All of the team as a whole hasn't been able to find the best foothold. They're not doing terrible, but I guarantee they'd all love to have a few wins by now.
Yeah, but Louisville Motorsports, I trust, will be able to right the ship eventually, especially with the run they're having here, because Mark Davey's putting on a very solid performance. His lead is only growing over Lane Sanders, as it looks like Echo Evans-Ross has made the pass on Patrick Smith. That was for 3rd spot, so moved the 39 up a place. This would tie her best career finish in the series. She's finished 3rd a couple of times before, as Sanders now all over the back of the 97, trying to size up a move going into turn 3, perhaps.
Sizing up, he is going for that move. These two get to battling, though. That 39 could be there. She's got a bit of work to do to get there, but may not be much of a fight. Oh, maybe a little bit of a fight here. He's not giving it up.
Yeah, but Lane had to check up in 4. That's going to cost him a lot of momentum down this long front straightaway. As Davey clears once again, he is your leader at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He has led for 5 laps of this race. Patrick Smith led the opening 2. Mark Davey has led ever since. And now he's got a bit of breathing space to work with over 2nd place Lane Sanders. I wonder, though, if that bit of a bobble in turn 4 is going to cost this 87 a lot more in the long run.
Right now, it's potentially going to cost him a position as he's fallen into the clutches of Evans-Ross, who's looking to size him up here. As he tried to size up Davey earlier, now he's the one that's getting sized up.
Looks like he's able to hold position for now, but this is a team that really wants something good to happen. They've announced they're running a 3rd car next season with Chase Chris behind the wheel, who did not make this race. turns out they're running a third car at Watkins Glen this season as well, so there's a lot going for Sanders Performance Autosport. They got both cars in the top 10 right now, just trying to hang on in the early stages. We're not even 10 laps in, but here is the battle for 10th place between J.D. Martin, Duke Anzac, and Ryan Caggiano in the 81.
Caggiano there, he was briefly in the top 10 earlier, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to be able to get a solid finish today. But really looking forward to seeing what he can do in that 81.
Side by side here for 7th, that's Bobo Jones getting past Julio Caesar in the 00, moved the 16 up to 7th place. He's the highest placed of the Venta Motorsport cars at the moment. Ben McDonald just outside the top 10. And here's a good story to keep our eye on for the rest of the day. Ashton Blevins in this 98. He is making his Superstar Series debut here today. Had a great qualifying effort, started 15th. He's fallen back a little bit. I believe he's currently, in the 19th position right now. But that's still a very solid run for a driver who has never driven one of these cars before and has never been to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway before either.
That is a good, solid place to be, and I'm sure he is enjoying every second of it. So make the most of it while you can.
As we've got a side-by-side battle here for 13th, that is Miles Mashburn on the outside, Ben McDonnell on the inside, with Joshua Michaels right behind them in 15th position. But looking back towards the front of the field, looks like Mark Davies' lead is getting that much bigger out in front. It's up to about 0.7 of a second now, as the field's starting to stack up a little behind Lane Sanders.
Stack up, but not directly nose to tail. There seems to be like a bit of an air cushion or something like that in between the 87 and the 39. Well, there was. Now Evans Ross is taking a peek and going for second place.
And Aaron Hall making a move on Patrick Smith as well for 4th. So 2 moves by 2 game breaker cars. Hall still trying to complete his, but Echo Evans Ross is through on Lane Sanders and up into 2nd place. Going to be very interesting to see what she can do now, as she has clean air on the nose of her Toyota, trying to chase down the Honda of Mark Davey, who's built himself a very comfortable lead of 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, and it looks like her teammate Aaron Hall, he finally completed the pass, and now the 3rd game breaker car in the top 10 right now. Denver Kruger's trying to size up Patrick and make a move, and well, let's see what. I'm loving this race so far. It's not been boring, not been overwhelming. It's just really nice and going in the early on. Looking forward to what the rest of this race can bring.
Well, Lane's not looking forward to that corner because he just washed up big time in turn 3, and that's going to cost him a chance to repass Evans Ross out of turn 4. So maybe he can get a bit of a draft down the front straightaway. It's a very big factor here. But looks like Evans Ross is able to hold the position on Lane Sanders. The gap is still about 1.7 seconds. As Mark Davey looks like he's setting the early pace out front. He has led 10 laps so far.
And I'd say Sanders better look out because he's got company. Actually, 3 individuals for company right behind him.
That would be Aaron Hall, Patrick Smith, and Emma Kruger right behind him. So, especially Aaron Hall in this 07, he's really trying to make a move on Lane in the early stages of this race. We're only on lap number 13, so there's plenty of racing still to go. Hall gets a bit wide out of 4. That's going to allow Patrick Smith to his inside here.
And I was going to say, you talked about it. Hall and Evans Ross are the 2 out of the game breaker camp that have yet to win in their careers. And this would be a great track for that to happen. So, still a long way to go, as looks like Julio Caesar's picking back up again here.
Looking a little further back, Duke Anzac and Ryan Caggiano have fallen a little ways off the top 10 as they're all starting to stack up once again back here. And I think Lane Sanders is the cork in the bottle because Echo Evans Ross has pulled away quite a bit. And now all these cars are trying to find a way past, but Lane's just got that little bit of a cushion to keep him by, as Emma Kruger looks like she lost a little time out of 4. That's going to distance the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars from all the ones chasing. As Patrick Smith, he dives to the inside. They make contact going into turn 1. That was a rough move by Patrick Smith, but he made it work. He's up to 3rd once again.
I don't know how Lane didn't lose the spot to Hall as well in that, because it was looking like he would. Had they all been right there, nose to tail behind him like they were, I guarantee he would have been freight train.
But Lane Sanders probably not very happy with Patrick Smith in that 22. You can see the damage on the 87 car from Patrick's little barge move into turn 1. We'll see if Sanders can get close enough to repay the favor going into turn 1 the next time. But if Sanders wasn't happy about his car before, he's really not going to be happy now.
He's going to be even less happy that Aaron Hall to his inside, preventing him from trying to get back to Patrick Smith.
So far, anyway, Sanders is doing his job holding off the 07, but for how much longer is the question, because he's got a big train of cars lined up behind him, as Mark Davies' lead is pretty stable at about a second and a half. Echo Evans-Ross got about a second and change on Patrick Smith, who's now cleared Lane Sanders, but Aaron Hall's the next one to take a shot at the 87.
Yeah, but that 87's been pretty wide, and I think that's why Patrick Smith did what he did, because he was tired of waiting, even though it's still pretty early on. He wanted to move, and he wanted to get clear.
Absolutely, yeah. But for now, Lane Sanders is hanging on in 4th place, about 3 seconds off the lead. He's in between Patrick Smith, who barged him out of the way on a couple laps ago, actually, and Aaron Hall, who's now trying to make a move. As Sanders, he looked like he wanted to repay the favor to Patrick Smith, just wasn't close enough on that occasion.
Yeah, but I think he's also playing it smart. He's angry, but he knows that if he does something now, it could come back to bite him later, even though it is just playing back the favor.
And right now, he's got 2 game breaker cars right on his bumper, and they both want past, the 07 and the 70. But Lane Sanders continues to hold down the position here as we keep going. We're on lap 17 of this race. Going to be very interesting to see what happens here.
And it looks like it's going to take the game breaker duo that haven't gotten by him yet to try to make some moves, because I think Kruger's decided, okay, enough's enough, let's go. But Lane's...
Ooh, that was close.
And he almost got the same treatment from Hall that Smith gave him.
Yeah, but Hall was wise to back out of that. No worth in risking that, damaging that race car, especially when you're on the cut line of the playoffs like he is. So, smart thing from Hall. He backed out of it, lives to fight another day. He's still in 5th position, which would greatly help his playoff chances, as Emma Kruger gets the draft off the 07, trying to set up a move down the front stretch.
And set up a move, but I don't know. Okay, yes, she is going to go by her teammate here, because I guess she's decided Hall can't do it. She might as well go up there and see what she can do with the 87.
We'll see if the move sticks, and it looks like it will, so move Emma Kruger up to 5th place. Patrick Smith still 3rd, Lane Sanders 4th. Mark Davey, though, his lead has gotten bigger. It's up to 2.3 seconds over Echo Evans-Ross, so whatever challenge the 39 might have had, it's fading away because Mark Davies building up quite a big lead. This is as big a lead as we've seen in the last few races, actually.
Yeah, of course, you got a few of the races that we've had the last few outings that there were more cautions than, like, they were close enough together that whoever was in lead couldn't really take off very far. But of course, some of that racing was also where it kept pretty close. Finally, someone else gets by the 87.
That would be Emma Kruger in the 70. That knocks Lane Sanders down to 5th place. And now Emma can see what she can do up against Patrick Smith in the 22. But Lane keeps dropping back. I wonder if that damage from Patrick Smith is going to impact him for the rest of the day. So far, it looks like he is going to lose a few more here. But Mark Davies having no such issues. He is comfortably out in the lead of this race by about 2.5 seconds. It's going to be very interesting to see if he can hold that lead for the rest of the day.
Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do, and he wants to get rid of that big old goose egg in the win column for Louisville Motorsports, and so far he's well on his way to that.
So far so good, as we got a battle here for the 9th position between the 16 of Bobo Jones and the 51 of Devin Fair. Devin gets around the Chevrolet of Bobo Jones, but Bobo comes back on the outside. Great move to re-clear Devin Fair and hold on to that 9th place.
Yeah, I saw it looks like Duke Anzac back there has a new challenger for 11th spot. Couldn't tell who it was, but I think that was Ben McDonald getting around Caggiano going after the 83 back there.
It's going to be worth keeping our eye on for the rest of the day, that is for sure. But back at the front of the field, the lead between Echo Evans-Ross in second and your race leader, Mark Davey, it is now over 3 seconds. So this is going to be well worth keeping our eye on for the rest of the day, as Patrick Smith starts to get a little closer to Echo Evans-Ross in the 22. So very curious to see if the 39 is able to defend against Patrick Smith, who's found some new life in this race.
I think he just kind of lost it a little bit, decided to gather himself back up, and now that he's past the 87 and closing in on the 39, maybe, just maybe, once he gets past the 39, and I say that because it's pretty much inevitable, he will get by her. I would not be surprised if that lead for Davey starts shrinking.
Well, we're going to find out here in a minute, aren't we? Because Patrick Smith is closing on Echo Evans-Ross. The gap now 0.3 between the 39 and 22. Meanwhile, Mark Davies growing his lead out to 3.5 seconds. No one's challenging the 97 at the moment. He is gone. But the battle for second looks like it's going to be heating up in a moment, because Echo Evans-Ross is falling into the clutches of Patrick Smith. And if you look further back, you see Aaron Hall did get past Lane Sanders. He moves up into the top 5.
Yeah, so that makes 3/5 of the top 5 game breaker drivers. So even if they don't go to victory lane, if they can hold on to this is going to be a solid day for at least the majority of the game breaker camp.
And it's going to be well worth it for Evans-Ross and Aaron Hall, because they were both on the verge of playoff contention. As it looks like Julio Caesar going to try lining up a move on his teammate, Lane Sanders, going into turn 1, and it's going to bring J.D. Martin with him.
I'm pretty sure Lane's not too cool to that, but he's probably happy that Julio's racing him cleaner than Patrick Smith did.
And Aaron Hall, for that matter, yeah. But Lane stays ahead of Caesar for the moment, as Patrick Smith looks to have fallen a little ways off Echo Evans-Ross for the moment. Emma Kruger starting to close in on him once again, as Lane Sanders is back clear of Caesar, and he starts to set off after Aaron Hall to try and get the 5th place back.
And I couldn't help but notice, when you mentioned the gap that Evans-Ross put on Smith, she gained a few tenths on Davey, but still, a long way to go, even if he starts falling off.
And I expect by the time that happens, we would have a round of pit stops too, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, but just keep perspective here, as the two Sanders Performance Autosport cars, they start to do battle over 6th place.
Yeah, they're playing it clean like proper teammates, but if it were to come down to the final 2 laps in the lead, I'm pretty sure being teammates would be out the window.
As J.D. Martin now makes a move on Julio Caesar to move himself up into the 7th position, and it looks like he's going to try to bring his Chevrolet partner Bobo Jones with him, but Caesar cuts off the 16, and now it's only J.D. Martin that made his way past Julio Caesar down the front stretch here at the Brickyard. We're closing in on halfway. No cautions yet. Mark Davies led all but the opening 2 laps.
And I think what's going on here is Echo Evans-Ross has a stout Toyota, but getting a little bit of a draft off of Smith's Ford, and well, her teammate behind him, that's probably helping her gain a little bit on Davey, who's by himself up there. So they're slowly chipping away, but it's going to take a lot more than chipping away to catch him.
Yeah, because look, Mark Davies making his way through the 4th turn right now, and the others are just now entering that corner. So, yeah, there they are. So this is quite a big lead he has built, but who knows what will happen at this stage of the race. We're closing in on halfway, like we said, and this has been a relatively calm Brickyard, all things considered.
And he just gained back 3 tenths there, Davey did, as we're looking at J.D. Martin. He was past Lane Sanders. I feel like that damage is from the contact with the 22 starting to affect his car, and I would not be surprised if he ends up sitting on pit road during the pit cycle for maybe a minute or 2 of repair.
And I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Patrick Smith does the same thing, because he's got a lot of damage as well. But unlike Sanders, Smith's putting up with it and still putting together competitive times. But Echo Evans-Ross still holding steady in second, still 3.5 seconds behind Mark Davey, but a quick caution here could change the complexion of this race.
Yeah, quick caution that doesn't seem to be in sight right now. There's several drivers who would love to see a caution right now, especially those who haven't been making a lot of progress from the back, which, of course, there's been too much going on up here that we haven't paid a whole lot of attention to the back, but it's definitely worth noting that if a caution, like you said, if a caution comes out, especially if it happens during the pit cycle, we've seen that happen, that could change the entire complexion of the race.
As Patrick Smith thinks about making a move on Echo Evans-Ross, but thinks better of it, hangs into third. Good, smart move from the points leader, just trying to defend his position at the front of the pack. But I think he wants to get by the 39 sooner rather than later. As Mark Davey comes up to take lap number 29 out in the lead of this race. Evans-Ross second, Patrick Smith third, and McCruger, Aaron Hall, your top 5.
And it seemed to hold kind of stationary there. They chipped back away a couple of the tenths that Davey gained a few laps ago, but that time they held pretty steady. They seemed to only gain a few hundredths that time.
Looks like we got a battle for a 5th on our hands, though, between J.D. Martin, who is fast approaching Aaron Hall in the 07. Going to be a close battle between those two for the final spot in the top 5. But I think J.D. Martin's been saving his stuff a little bit because he has been turning up the wick in the last few laps here.
And he's carrying the Robbers Racing banner right now, so that's definitely going to be something. He wants victory lane, no question about that. That whole team does. And
they make contact into turn 1. Aaron Hall around. Caution's going to come out for the first time today at the halfway lap. Aaron Hall off the bumper of J.D. Martin, and he somehow keeps it out of the way of oncoming traffic.
That is unfortunate for Aaron Hall. He was having such a good day, and he was just trying to defend his position, and now he's going to be limping around the track for the rest of the race.
Tough break for Aaron Hall as they race back to the caution flag. He's going to try and pick up a spot here if he can, as it looks like someone else has had a problem, and it's Patrick Smith in the 22.
Oh, I'm going to be interesting to see what the cameras picked up on that.
So Patrick Smith couldn't even make it back to the pits. They had to tow him back. He's going to lose a lot of time here, and this is important for the points battle as well. Patrick Smith entered this race as your points leader today.
I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's not been good to be the points leader this season.
No, it has not.
It's one of those things where, unless it's the championship race, you don't want to be the points leader.
Even then you might not. Well, we never know what happens at Homestead at the end of the year. But Mark Davey, his 4.5 second lead has been wiped out by this caution flag, which comes at halfway. What this does do is it gives everybody the opportunity to make a pit stop under caution and make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, well, at least this time we don't have to. Well, that definitely throws out everybody's concern really about having a caution come out in the middle of the cycle, and that's a relief for Davey and all these others who've been up here, but not such a relief for those that we haven't really been talking much about toward the back.
Well, we're about to find out what's about to take place because the whole field now making their way down the pit lane. We're going to see what happens on this pit stop, and once we find out the running order after pit stops, we'll get you those replays of what happened to Aaron Hall and to Patrick Smith to put us under our first caution of the day here on lap 30. But pit stop's the order of the day, and I believe Mark Davey will be the first one into his box.
And there goes J.D. Martin, a few others back to the back of the field, and now it's time to see what's going to happen here with the 87. He's getting. Looks like he might just be getting his tires on here, but
although it looks like Echo Evans-Ross is going to win the race off pit road. She beat Mark Davey out of the pits. So, and might J.D. Martin as well? No. Mark Davey was able to hold him off. Jeffrey Finguy gained a whole bunch of spots out of the pits. Joshua Michaels, Sam Donato as well. But Echo Evans-Ross is your new leader on pit stops, as we're going to get to a replay here in a moment of what happened to put us under this first caution of the day here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're on lap 32 now, but replays, they'll be coming for what took place here in the first turn and in the third. So it was just a matter of Aaron Hall going down the front straightaway. J.D. Martin got his draft. Martin took a peek out to make a move, and Hall tried to close the door, but he was already there.
Yeah, that's just one of those deals where you got your spotter telling you got somebody trying to pass you. You try to block it. Ooh, I'd say the closest one there to having their day ruined by the 07 coming back down was potentially Caggiano in the 81, but not as close as it might have looked.
Oh, looks like Smith had an issue, and then Emma Kruger doored him, and that sent Smith up into the turn 3 wall. I'm very curious what happened to this 22, because that looked very, very sudden to suddenly go from top speed to having an issue just like that. So the caution's already out at this point. They're racing their way back, and Patrick Smith tucked in behind Echo Evans-Ross. Oh, and it looks like he's got a flat. And yeah, he definitely had a flat because he slowed dramatically. Could that have been the result of that contact with Lane Sanders back on lap 15?
Well, hard to say, but he's definitely got more than a flat now.
Got plenty of damage on that 22. They took a while in the pits to get it sorted out, as we're back underway with the restart, and it looks like we've got issues with Julio Cesar and Lane Sanders, both the Spa cars, in the pits on the restart. Oh, and we're back under caution already! And there's a big crash in the turn 2. Vargas involved, Finguy involved, Mahendra, caution flies already. A lot has happened, and we barely saw any of it as Caggiano, and Jeff Bolton gets spun round.
And I was talking about how good Caggiano was doing in the beginning, and then this...
Oh, and Cesar gets piled into it as well. His day looks to be done. Julio Cesar looks to be the first retiree from this race. But
it rains it pours for Spa.
Add insult to injury there. That was bad. But Echo Evans-Ross, I believe, is still the race leader. We didn't even have time to pull the ticker back up. What in the world took place on this restart to put us under the caution yet again?
Well, we're going to find out. I don't know what to say.
Well, I do. Echo Evans-Ross caught a break because I think Mark Davey was about to line up a pass on the 39 when that caution came out. So, good break for Evans-Ross. He gets another try at it. But Brian Grigsby in the pits in the 60. He was having a decent day. Jeff Bolton into the pits. Julio Cesar's probably going to be out of the race. Caggiano with some decent damage on the 81. Cesar with a lot more. And yes, he is out of the race. Tough break. Grigsby gets back going again. I expect Bolton will as well. I'm very curious as to what caused this, because, wow. You don't see that very often here. That's for sure. As we're going to get you a replay of this. I'm fairly certain about that. But, wow. That's certainly a turn of events here. So this looks like where it starts. Going into turn 4, Sanders, I think he got a flat tire from his Patrick Smith contact as well. He pulled off into the pits. That stacked up the field behind Jeffrey Finguy, who was directly ahead. And Devin Fair trying to make a move, I think, as McDonald tries to make a move on the 73 of Bouchard, who had an excellent pit stop. What is going to be... Oh, yeah, I think Bouchard got slowed up behind. Oh, and Finguy sent it in once again! And, oh my goodness, that just stacked up the whole field. And look at this melee coming through turn 2.
Yeah, close in there. And I noticed it from the other angle when we first called up to this. Good evasive maneuvers by several drivers there. And then, of course, this happened. Yeah, that looks like a stack up further ahead. Because it looks like one car went through the grass to avoid this. Oh, and look at Cesar piling in as well. That was not good for 00 driver, but Jeff Bolton, he's had a rough few races, and this may drop him out of the playoffs as it runs right now. Yeah, which is very unfortunate for him, and really unfortunate for Caggiano. I've been keeping an eye on him this race as much as I can without, well, because it's been, of course, been announced that he's going to be driving for me next year. Well, driving alongside me in the Superstar Series next year, but it's the attrition of trying to make things make good things out of a tough situation, and now it's just a matter of salvaging what points he can.
But we are coming to another restart, this time on lap 37 as the back of the field still trying to catch up. But it's Echo Evans-Ross leading this race. And I believe this is the most laps Echo Evans-Ross has led in a 1UP Superstar Series event. Could this be the day for Evans-Ross trying to get that first career win, which we felt was coming for a long time ever since she joined this team?
Yeah, and this is definitely an opportunity she can't pass up, especially if Martin and McDonald get the racing Davey back there behind her.
Yeah, look at this. We've got some new contenders up at the front of the field. Ben McDonald, like you said. Joshua Michaels up to 6th. Zachary Fitzwater in 7th. Great run for the 59. After his teammate failed to qualify for the first time this season. Nick Ortiz also in 8th place.
And don't look now. I see Cody Goforth in the 64 back there. He's been, well, he was scored in the top 10. Is he still? Yeah, he's still there somewhere in that mess.
But yeah, that's a great run for a part-timer in Cody Goforth this year. But look at Fitzwater though. Excellent run for the 59. Because like I said, his teammate did not make the field here as Sanders back to pit road, as is Chris Lattimore.
I don't know what's going on with Lattimore, but he might have got a little bit of damage from that mess early, from the most recent caution. But he's been having a few decent runs that 13 has, but
not this time.
Yeah, definitely not.
But Echo Evans-Ross comes off turn 4. She's got quite the lead over Mark Davey and Ben McDonald as we close in now on. We're closing in on 20 laps to go. We got 22 to go this time by. And Mark Davey doing whatever he can to try and hold off Ben McDonald because his car is handling very differently now that he's in dirty air.
Yeah, he loved the clean air he had. He's not loving the dirty air, guaranteed. He's definitely not liking that 12 is on his rear bumper.
No, absolutely not. And it looks like we've got a bit of a stack up here behind J.D. Martin. Zachary Fitzwater trying to set up a move on the 66. He's diving into turn 3. Is the 59. Excellent move. That puts him into the top 5.
And he's needing that because he's had some rough runs this season as well. And I saw Cody Goforth back there. He's lurking. Got a lot of contenders here that weren't in this earlier.
As Ben McDonald setting up a move on Mark Davey, and he's bringing Devin Fair with him in the 51. This is the closest to the front we've seen the 51 today. But all while these guys are battling, Echo Evans-Ross is stretching out her lead. It is now 1.5 seconds, but over Ben McDonald in 2nd place. Fair has also passed Mark Davey for 3rd place. Let's see what Ben McDonald can do now. Can he close up on the 39?
That's what I was just wondering about, because he had to fight Davey for 2nd, and now that he's clear of that car, can he do something about Evans-Ross in the long run? And of course, looking at Fitzwater here, I am really happy to see him up there.
This has been a good track for the 59. He's had a few decent runs here, but this would be his best run at the Brickyard, according to my memory anyway. As Martin lurks back there, we're looking through the field, see where your favorite driver is running in this race. We got Lattimore and Sanders quite a ways off the pace. Remember, they pitted after the restart. Patrick Smith still a lap down, and Julio Caesar out of the race. But up at the front, Mark Davey trying to regain lost ground. He's closing in on Devin Fair.
And that's what he wants to do. If he has any hope of salvaging a win, he's got to get back by these two and find a way to get back by the 39.
Easier said than done, though. This car is not handling as well as it did out in front. But one thing I just noticed, Ben McDonald lopped off a couple tenths from Echo Evans-Ross's lead. So McDonald's starting to gain a little bit of time, but does he have enough laps?
That's the $1 million question, because she's built up this lead. It's just a matter of what can he do. especially since he seems to be having company once again.
Yeah, but these three are putting on quite a show for the runners-up spot. But it's all happening behind Echo Evans-Ross, who is enjoying a very comfortable lead out front. This is something we've been waiting for a while, is this 39 putting together a good run like this, running at the front, leading laps, contending for a win, and she just gained a 10th back on the trio battling for the second spot.
And she's a lone wolf now up at the front with the rest of the game breaker crew having some bad luck in those last couple of cautions. But now this could certainly put some ease to the pain that team's had with those other three cars if she can hold on and win.
It's gonna be fun to watch. We're closing in on 15 laps to go. And Mark Davey, he did get past Devin Fair. That's part one of the mission done. But now he's got to get to Ben McDonald. And I imagine McDonald's going to be a harder pass this time around because he's been looking for a win for quite a while, even though he already has two this season.
Yeah, what's one more, huh? I've said it before. It doesn't matter how many wins in a year or a career that you have. You always look forward to that next one. And I know one person who will look forward to that next one once she's got that first one, if she can hang on here today, and we're looking at her.
Yeah, well, it's a good sized gap she has over Ben McDonald. It's still over a second, but one thing I noticed, this 12 car is starting to pull away from Mark Davey and Devin Fair a little bit, and as a result, he is starting to gain on these cars behind him. And I just want to give another shout out to this 64 because he is having a very good day. He did just get passed by Joshua Michaels, so he's fallen back to 9th now. But that's still a very strong run for a driver who doesn't run this car every week.
Oh yeah, I love racing against him every week. Well, when I can actually be able to race against him. I've had my share of bad luck this year, but
yeah, no,
he's a real good competitor and a real good friend, and I'm really looking forward to racing against him next year here at Super Series.
And another person I want to shout out, Zayden Davidson in that 4 car, as Mark Davey gets underneath Ben McDonald for second to take over that spot. Mark Davey's trying to regain lost ground, but Zayden Davidson, he started last in this race, and he's just outside the top 10 now.
Yeah, it's not last the first challenge, but last the top 10 would certainly be a feel-good story for Zayden today, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. That 4 car has been very consistent this year. Got a win, of course, at Hanford, is one of our 4 first-time winners this season. And Zayden Davidson putting together a very strong run here from last on the grid, now just outside the top 10 in about 12th place.
I'd say give it enough time, he might actually at least make it to 10th by the end of this thing, depending on how things play out. Still got a good amount of laps left, but we'll find out soon enough, as it looks like Davey is closing.
Yeah, he's gaining quite a bit, actually, on this lap. He gained 0.7 of a second that lap. Look, Evans-Ross is right there. We are closing in here on the end of this race, and Mark Davey just put in the fastest lap he's run today, that last time by.
Yeah, not the fastest lap of the race, but definitely faster than that 39 is put up, so yeah, I'd say Echo's got to be sweating a little bit there.
But she's got to hold on, though. There's no other option. This is for the win of the Brickyard 400. Anything other than hanging on at this point would be a failure. Evans-Ross has got to hang on for about 13 more laps of this race, trying to hold off a past winner of the event, Mark Davey.
And right now, I would not be surprised to see Davey make a peak going into turn 1. He's losing a little bit of ground there, so he's not going to get to do it this time.
But boy, did he get closer. He's within 1/10 of a second now, as they go off into turn 2 now. And if these two get to battling each other, that could let McDonald, Devin Fair, even Fitzwater up close to the battle. So this race is by no means over.
And you know that if Fitzwater can get up there, he is going to want to make some moves. If he can get by any of these 4 and steal this one from the ones who have been the best of the field today, and by that I mean the current top 2, we could definitely be saying a lot. But right now, there's still a little bit of work to do for him to even have a chance.
And while he does have a truck win in his career, he's looking for his first in this series, and that's been a long time coming as well. But we got 12 laps to go in the Brickyard 400, and Mark Davey is right there on the back of Echo Evans-Ross, trying to get his first win of the season, and Evans-Ross trying to get the first win of her career.
Yeah, she's putting on quite a block here. I think what's going on here is similar to what happened for those who couldn't pass Lane Sanders earlier before his contact with Patrick Flynn. Even afterward, people were having trouble getting by him. He just decided, you know what, I'm not in the lead, but I'm going to stay here. And that's got to be tenfold, if not more, for Evans-Ross right here.
Yeah, because that was for minor positions in the top 10. This is for the win. And got 11 laps to go. Mark Davey, he makes a little bit of a bobble in the turn one, goes a little wide. That's going to give Evans-Ross a little breathing space, and it's going to back him into Ben McDonald.
Yeah, that is not what he wanted. He did not want that little bit of a bobble, because you saw it already. They were the 12 and the 51 were closing already, and now at least the 12 is there, and that's what Evans-Ross needs. So long as these two get side by side, she can keep breathing a little easier.
And look at McDonald swoop past the 97, move McDonald up to second place once again. Now he's going to try and line up a move on Echo Evans-Ross late in the late stages here. Could Ben McDonald become a first-time winner of the Brickyard 400? We're now 10 laps away from finding out the answer.
And it's looking real good so far. As looking back there, Fitzwater's lost fifth place to Ortiz, but still top 10, something he needs. But right now, our focus is top 2, 3, 4 cars actually.
Yeah, Devin Fair also got past Mark Davey. That was the battle for the third position, but look at McDonald. He is gaining time on Echo Evans-Ross, and this might be the hardest test Evans-Ross has faced today. Can Ben McDonald get past? Can Evans-Ross hang on for just 9 more laps at Indianapolis? This is going to be a real close battle for the win. Stay tuned.
And I'd say Davey's probably thinking, wait, wasn't I just trying to pass the 39 a few laps ago? But he's got a little bit of time to rally back. They're not that far ahead of him still. There's
still plenty of time, but for Ben McDonald, this is going to be a very close battle, because he's got time, and he's got a close enough gap to try and make moves. But the more laps he waits, the less time he has,
and the more chances Devin Fair has to get to him, because I've seen that 51 close in on him a couple times. He's dropped back a little bit more now, but that 51 could, if these two get to fighting just like it was with Evans-Ross and Davey, it's gonna be real interesting here soon enough if these two get to fighting.
8 laps to go, and Ben McDonald dives it off into turn 1, trying to pick up a position. This is for the win, and he's diving it off into 2 once again. Evans-Ross trying to block his advances, trying to deny him clean air on the nose of that car, but he is doing everything he can to try and make this happen in the late stages of the Brickyard 400. We're coming to 7 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, I feel like I said, she's doing what she needs to do, and he's doing what he needs to do. This is for all the marbles at Indianapolis. This is going to be big for both of them.
I can't imagine this will be a boring finish, that is for sure. 6 laps of racing to go now. 7, 6. I'm losing track. We got a great battle for the lead on our hands no matter what. It is 7 laps to go, and Ben McDonald closing in on Echo Evans-Ross. He's been there for the last few laps. Fair and Davey now. This looks like a tandem race at the Brickyard, but these two are racing hard for the win. Those two are fighting back there for third. Davey sets up a move on Fair for that position, but our focus now is on the front of the field where the action is. It is time to bring the action at Indianapolis, and here comes Ben McDonald setting up a move on Echo Evans-Ross. He's going to get a bit of a draft down the front straightaway. This could be the opportunity he needed.
Or maybe not. He tucks back in, but he could just be setting her up. That's the big thing. Although he's been close before, and she seems to just know right where he wants to go.
But this is the second time this is the first time he's gotten this close. He's within a tenth now of the 39. This is as close as McDonald has gotten. Could he be setting up a possible move in the turn 3? You can't make it too late, but you also don't want to make it too early and risk having them try and make a move back on you into the next corner.
And you don't want to do that. You don't want to run wide, because that's just going to hold things up, and who knows? These two keep this up like this, Davey might be back in the mix.
And McDonald's got a problem! He's got a tire going down, and he's going to be out of the running here at the Brickyard. McDonald to the pit lane. He is not going to win this race. Oh, heartbreak for this 12 car who's pulling it into the pits, and the crew are signaling to him, trying to get him back into this, but he is not going to win today. 5 laps of racing to go. Now it's Echo Evans-Ross with a big lead over Mark Davey.
Yeah, she's got to be breathing a big sigh of relief knowing that now she's got breathing room, but she also knows she can't back off just yet. Not until that checkered flag waves.
And Ben McDonald, I don't think he even got back out on the racetrack. He's out of the race. McDonald out of the race. He's going to finish 41st today after coming so close to a win at Indianapolis. Heartbreak for him. We can't find him in the pit lane or on the racetrack. That is it for Ben McDonald here at Indianapolis. We are now coming to 4 laps of racing to go. Can Evans-Ross hold on for just that much longer?
Well, we're going to find out. She's trying. Like I said, the pressure's not as great now. It's just a matter of keeping her foot on the gas for as much as she has chance to through every straightaway and not be off the gas too much in the turns. And she is going to be fine. I feel she's just going to be all right in the long run. She's got the chance here. And I'm just rambling.
We're coming to 3 laps to go. This is going to be the toughest 3 laps of Echo Evans-Ross's life right here. Trying to get her first career win, and to get it at the most famous racetrack in the world. We are coming to 3 laps of racing to go, and Mark Davey is starting the charge.
And don't look down, Nick Ortiz, he might come up here and try to at least mess with fair. I don't think he has, unless something dramatic happens with Davey maybe catching up to Evans-Ross, I don't think he has a shot to steal this one.
No, but
he can still have fun.
He's gaining though, and he's going to need Devin Fair's help at this point. He's not going to be able to chase down the 39 by himself. The question is, will Devin Fair try and help Mark Davey, or is he going to try and go for second himself? Remember, that's 5 more points, a difference between second and third. Coming to 2 laps of racing to go now.
Yeah, I honestly don't think Fair's going to have much of a choice but to try to get by.
And it looks like we're going to crash in turn 4. And we have. It's Bouchard. This race is going to be over here as they're coming to take the caution flag with 2 laps to go.
There's the flag. It's over. That's a bit anticlimactic for Evans-Ross, but I don't think she's going to care if she can hang on here for the final pacing.
Oh, and Daniel Bouchard, he was having a great run early, but unfortunately it all comes to an end here with 2 to go. But for Echo Evans-Ross, even if it does end under caution, she's more than earned this victory if she can hang on here. Because if she can hang on, she'll have led 29 laps of this race, the most she's ever led in a race, and tied with Mark Davey for the most laps led today.
And right now, she's got to be praying, please nothing go wrong, please nothing go wrong.
We've seen things go wrong before, but my goodness, and Bouchard is out of the race after that accident. But we're coming to the white flag this time, and it's going to be under caution. All Echo Evans-Ross needs to do is just keep that pace car in sight, and take the checkered flag under yellow, and she will have an incredible first career win at Indianapolis.
And we've said it. If you want to win your first career race, why not do it at one of the biggest stages in motorsports? And this is certainly the biggest stage in American auto racing.
But we're coming to the white flag here. Echo Evans-Ross has had a great season. She entered this race 19th in the points. But this win, if she can hang on to it, it's going to help her out in a big way. That might even jump her into the top 15. So if she can hang on, and never say never, but it's not over till the checkered drops, which is coming in 2.5 miles time.
Yeah, I look at this top 10. Of course, you got Evans Ross, Mark Davies. They've been the class of the field all day long. Then you got Devin Fair having a good run. Nick Ortiz, we didn't talk about him much before the first caution flew. And then Zachary Fitzwater. This is going to be really big for him because he needs it because, he's had his major ups and downs throughout his career. And then Michaels, Martin, Ricky Freeman Jr. up in there. Go forth. We talked about him having a good run. Then Zayden Davidson. He didn't go from last to first, but last to 10th is certainly going to be a feel-good story for him.
And it's going to help him in the points as well, because if he had finished back there, it would have he would have taken a big hit in the points, that's for sure. But this has been a long time coming for Echo Evans Ross. She made her debut back in 2022 and has been slowly chipping away at it over the last few years. She started at Motardash Racing, ran 2 years there, picked up some great runs there over the years, almost got a win there too. But it was when she made the move to Gamebreaker Racing that we knew this win was going to come one of these days. And now it's going to come at the most hallowed ground in all of racing, and I could not be more thrilled to see this happen, because Gamebreaker Racing, we know their situation. They're going to probably have to downsize in a year or two. But for right now, they're not going to be worried about that, because coming down the front straightaway for the final time under the yellow flag is going to be Echo Evans Ross. For the very first time in her one-up career, going to take the checkered flag, and it is going to come in the 4th annual Brickyard 400. Checkered flag, Evans Ross, signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah, and with that, the top 10 is official. Nothing changed. Nobody had any issues. And that is definitely good for a lot of drivers, but most of all, Echo Evans Ross.
Mark Davey comes home second. So close to another Brickyard win. Devin Fair, third. Barely talked about Ortiz, like he said, but he comes home fourth. Actually, all of the Louisville cars in the top 10 this week. Great run for that team. As is the case for Fitzwater in fifth. That is much needed for that organization at the end of this race. Joshua Michaels, didn't mention him much today either, but he brings it home in the top 10 once again in sixth. Right ahead of teammate J.D. Martin in seventh. Ricky Freeman Jr., he puts all three of the Louisville cars in the top 10, like we said. Could he go for it? Gets his first top 10 in the Superstar car this season in ninth. And Zayden Davidson, well, like we said, he started last today, but he persevered, and he's going to bring it home with a top 10 finish at the end of the day. That is an excellent run for him. But we still have some things to sort out, because we need to get you a replay of what happened to put us under this final caution of the day. So hold tight for that, because we want to see what happened there, because it looked to be quite a big incident there. So he was running at the back already, and I think Mahendra's going to take a look up the inside. Yes, he is, and that is going to send both of them up the track into the wall, and upside down goes the 73.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. You're just trying to survive and get to the end and salvage what points you can after being caught up in earlier messes, and then you have that happen. Really hate it for Bouchard.
And his wretched season continues with that. That is really tough to see for Daniel Bouchard, especially when his team faced their first DNQ in their career, with William Brock not making this race today. But with that being said, that is going to be it for us from Indianapolis. And boy, that was an incredible race from start to finish. We did have 3 cautions, but it was still a relatively calm race other than that. And when we get to the next race, that is just going to add to our fun, because next up for us is the Tricky Triangle at Pocono Raceway. We haven't been there in a little while, but it's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure, once we head out there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, because if it has any similarities to what happened today, I think we're in for a good show.
Absolutely. But from James Ellison and from myself as well, we say goodbye from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where a dream has come true today. We'll see you again at Pocono next time, but until then, congratulations to Echo Evans, Ross, and Gamebreaker Racing. First career win for the 39 driver, and it comes at the most famous track in the world.